So we've said that phonetics studies how sounds are produced, transmitted and perceived. So what does phonology do? Phonology studies the selection and organization of phonic substance in a particular language. What does that mean? It studies how sounds are selected in a particular language. For example, the sound ña, ña in niño in Spanish doesn't occur in English, so it does not appear in the inventory of sounds for English. Each language has its own inventory of sounds. Phonology also studies how sounds are organized, patterned, combined, how they go together in a particular language. For example, we go to school. That's a perfectly organized idea, grammatically correct in English, right? Now, phonologically speaking, it's perfect too, because we can say sk, school. We can combine s and k initially in a word. Those two consonant sounds form a cluster, a combination of two consonants within the same syllable. Great. So in Spanish we can also say me voy a la escuela. Escuela, can we? No, we can't, because in Spanish it's not possible to have these two sounds initially in a word. We need an extra sound before. In this case, the vowel e, escuela, because that's how the patterning of sounds functions in Spanish. This is studied by phonology. So, phonology studies sounds as linguistic phenomena, how these sounds are used to convey meaning, how they make up words, phrases, sentences, and the changes they undergo too. Let's pay attention to the plural form. For dad. What's the plural for dad? It's dads. The singular form is dad, d, 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 d. The last sound is d. If you touch your throat when you say d, you can perceive that your vocal cords are vibrating. So in English, if the last sound in the singular is voiced, you need to produce another voiced sound for economy of effort. So you say dads. Z is voiced too. Right. What happens in Spanish? Pared. Pared. If we touch our throat, our vocal cords are vibrating too. So we should say pareds. Do we? No, we don't. Because in Spanish, when a noun ends in a consonant sound, the plural is realized as an extra syllable es. Pared, paredes. Lápiz, lápices. That's how it works in Spanish. So this is studied by phonology. Phonology also studies stress. For example, White House. Let's have a look at the first picture here. This is a white house. We are qualifying through an adjective the house. It's a house that's been painted white. It's a white house. I'm looking at the white house. But if I pay attention to the second picture, I'm looking at the White House. White House. I'm stressing the first word. And I'm changing the meaning completely because I'm not referring to the color. Actually, it coincides with the color in this case. But I'm referring to the official residence for the President of the United States. So you see how important stress is. And then English teacher. What am I? Am I an English teacher or an English teacher? Well, I was born here in Argentina, so I'm not English. I'm Argentinian, so I'm not an English teacher. But I'm an English teacher because English is the subject I teach. So you see, stress plays a very important role in English. And phonology studies that too. You'll analyze stress in detail next year. And phonology also studies rhythm. To illustrate, we'll read these verses. First, we have a limerick, which is a very short poem made up of 5 verses. It's kind of funny. I'm going to read it, and we're going to pay attention to the rhythm in English. There was a young lady from Riga who went for a ride on a tiger. They returned from the ride with a lady inside and a smile on the face of the tiger. Now, let's read the next verses on your right in Spanish. En el cielo las estrellas, en el campo las espinas y en el centro de mi pecho la República Argentina. Well, let's contrast the rhythm in English and Spanish. For example, in Spanish, en el cielo las estrellas, all the syllables seem to have the same prominence. We don't say en el cielo las estrellas, en el campo las espinas. We don't say that. So we say that in Spanish, rhythm is syllable timed. We move from syllable to syllable. En el cielo las estrellas. But in English, it's different. There was a young lady from Riga. Young lady Riga. So you see that some syllables stand out from the others. Which syllables? The syllables of content words. Which are the content words in English? Nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. They carry meaning. Very important for the message we are conveying. So, young lady Riga. Went, ride, tiger. They returned from the ride with a lady inside and a smile on the face of the tiger. What happens to the other words? Well, the other words are function words or grammatical words. They are very important too, but they are not stressed in English. They are usually weak. So, if I read this limerick in this way, there was a young lady from Riga who went, okay. First of all, will sound weird. And people, what are we doing? We are pronouncing. Let's see. We are transferring Spanish rhythm. It seems that we are speaking Spanish with we are speaking English with Spanish rhythm. Or speaking Spanish with English words. Okay, so phonology studies rhythm, and you all will study basic concepts of rhythm. We'll work on this in phonetics 2, and then next year in phonetics 3 you'll plunge into rhythm. Phonology also studies intonation. How do you say goodbye in English? Do you say goodbye? Yes, you say goodbye. Or for example, if you are firing someone, I don't want to see you again. But usually we say bye, goodbye. Great. So in Spanish we can say ciao. Do we? No. No, in Spanish we say ciao. So you see, each language has its own intonation. Also, when you greet someone, hi, how are you in Spanish? Sorry, in English. In Spanish, hola, ¿cómo estás? Do you say that? No, you say, hola, ¿cómo estás? Or when you answer a phone call, in Spanish, hola. Or some people may say, hola. But in English, you do have to say, hello? Hello? Now, if you answer the phone in Spanish and say, hola, you'll sound weird too. So each language has its own intonation, and that's studied by phonology. That's why we say phonology is particular.